Joining us now, one of the greatest players in Philadelphia Eagles history. You may know him as Five. We know him as Donovan. Donovan McNabb joins us now. What's up, Donovan?
Okay, we're getting a lot better on the intro.
Yeah!
I like it for week 2.
You like that?
There you go. I like it. Good afternoon, fellas. How you guys doing?
Oh, we're doing good,
What up,
Donovan.
Five?
So, before we get into the ins and outs of the game, Arrowhead Stadium, a very tough place to play. Looking back on your career, what do you think were the toughest road games, the toughest places to play for you?
Arrowhead was unique. It was unique because I don't know if they still have that band that played in the end zone, but they had that band that was playing in the end zone during the game, so that was kind of annoying until we jumped on top of them and started playing well. But I will tell you, the best part of that whole game when we played the Chiefs was Derek Thomas's mom and the other moms getting food together for us to take on the bus and take back home. So I enjoyed that part after a big win. But some of the toughest places to play, I mean, I hated playing Oakland because that field and that stadium was awful. And it always felt like it was like damp out there. I love being in Miami, Arizona, just in the warm places. But places that were awful, I mean, we played in Washington when they were the Redskins at that particular time. And before they moved over to the new stadium, it was just awful. But you have your ups and downs of great stadiums now because they've received so much money with the TV deal, and now they're trying to renovate everything and get that high-quality stadium for a lot of these players.
So, Donovan, going to Arrowhead and winning against Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, big task. They were in a desperate spot, and the Eagles won the game, which was great. The thing that we're having trouble reconciling here is it's a good win, but it's the second straight game we've seen the team struggle from a passing standpoint. So how do you reconcile a big win like that, but also you see things that may cause trouble in the future the way that we saw yesterday?
Well, again, when I look at Jalen's strengths, and obviously this is a new coordinator, and there was some ups and downs with Kellen Moore early on. Remember last year we talked about it, and the first thing that I said was, what type of identity do you want to have? You got to figure out what type of identity. Are you going to be a running team? Well, if you're going to be a running team, then we have to have the play-action game has to be something that we can feed off of. But I look at this particular year, and I say the same thing. I mean, if we're not utilizing our tight ends the way we're supposed to and our running backs in the passing game by establishing the middle of the football field, then we got to use downfield throwing because that's kind of one of Jalen's strengths, is downfield throwing. I think a lot of teams know that, and they're playing as what Vic Fangio's doing is try to keep everything in front of us. And so we've got to be able to take those intermediate routes as well as the quick game to be able to establish the downfield passing game with our offense. And I think when I watch the game, I look back and I'm like, well, first of all, Jalen's got a lot of time in the pocket, but I'm like, it should not take that long for us to go through our reads and find somebody to come open in the passing game. So I just think, where's the timing, passing combinations where we're throwing off our back foot, 5-step plant, 3-step plant? I just don't see that right now with us throwing with rhythm in the passing game.
It seems like we've been blitzed a lot in these first two games, Five. I'm trying to figure out from an offensive standpoint, how do you sort of combat or get a team to stop blitzing you, right? I mean, Spags blitzed a lot in that game yesterday. They saw a lot of blitzes in that game against the Cowboys as well. How do you get a team to stop doing that?
Well, what you do is you combat that with the quick game. Mm-hmm. You utilize, hey, if you're going to blitz us, then we get the ball out to our weapons on the outside. If it's on a slant, quick out, a hitch, a quick fade, utilizing the tight ends and stick routes or running in the flat, whatever it may be, combinations to combat that. And also, too, I think a way of establishing yourself and your identity, the screen game. The screen game was something that was very important for us when we were playing, to utilize Westbrook because you're going to get a mismatch on him with offensive linemen in front of him. Mm-hmm. And so if what Spags was trying to do was he was trying to, again, that same mentality he had in the Super Bowl was try to eliminate Saquon from having 100 yards rushing.
Right.
And now what does that do? That puts the onus on the passing game and Jalen. And actually, to be honest with you, I mean, even though that it came out the way it did, Spags won that particular battle. He won that battle because we only had 200 yards of total offense. You don't win football games and win 200 yards of total offense. And you and I both know that. If you got 200 yards of total offense, man, we going to at least sit on that bus like, man, what just happened? Like, we ain't winning the game. And so I give credit to Spags and what his mentality and his approach that week was, and the way that they played. They just didn't get any points from their offense to help them out.
Do you recall a time like in your career where the offense, particularly early in the season, just doesn't seem to be clicking in the passing game? So I'm just wondering from a quarterback standpoint, how do you sort of get that going and how do you keep the spirits up of your skill position guys when you're not getting those explosive plays? Do you recall a time where the offense struggled a little bit early and then you got it fixed as the season went on?
Yeah, we've had that. We've had that a couple times, each year. And, it was like coming out of the spring, coming out of summer, we had a lot of great ideas of what we wanted to do with explosive plays and how we wanted to go about it. And by the time we got to about week 4, week 5, it was like, hey, let's get back to the basics and be able to establish that tempo on the offensive side of just our normalcy of 5 hits, balls out, 5 plants, 3 quick hits, whatever it may be, where we're now getting in a rhythm where we can take those shots downfield. And that's when you seen by week 6, week 7, week 8, we were kind of just letting the ball fly because we had already established a rhythm at that particular time in that early part of our season when we weren't playing well. And we've been through this phase, not so much the way it looks now. We would still come out of games with 300 plus of total offense, but it just wasn't the rhythm we needed and the rhythm to be able to keep going to put points on the board. But we went back to the basics. And I think that's something in which it's tough to say with this particular team because you don't have the same coordinator. So what is the basics? You know what I'm saying? So I just think it has to be a relationship between quarterback and coordinator, running back and coordinator. Now that kind of spreads the message to the rest of the guys that this is going to be our approach. And I felt the frustration from a lot of the players on the team because they're not involved, and I'm sure something probably will come out soon. But I think they need to just get back to the basics of just getting the ball to their guys and let them work. Hey, I like when we were getting AJ the ball on quick under routes at 5-6 yards, putting the ball in their hands. And then, we took a shot with Devontae, which he got hurt. But it's got to be methodical. It's got to be methodical where we're utilizing that tight end, our quick game. And then, you set up things in the intermediate passing game. We got to be at a high clip, completing about 65-70% from that intermediate passing game. That's 15 and under.
Donovan McNabb with us. Donovan, even though it's a different coordinator, can it be helpful for a player to go back and look at the games when it worked, even in the previous year? This thing that you're talking about, the quick hits and I feel like we've seen it sometimes, but we don't see it regularly. Is it even over the last 2 years, not just this year?
You talking about in Philadelphia or
in Philadelphia? In Philadelphia.
You got to understand that this has been ever since Jalen has been there.
Right.
He had a different coordinator almost every year that he's been there. And so it's been this same type of pattern where, you start the season out and everybody starts, because if they would have lost that game, then it would have been the same thing as when Charles Johnson was the coordinator. When the same thing with the defense, when they struggled and they put Matt Patricia in there. It's no different than what you guys have seen each and every year. But you got to understand it takes time. This is a long season. Remember, they didn't play any preseason games. So it ain't like you could have kicked the rust off. I like that. I don't like this. They didn't play in the preseason. And that's part of the problem with a lot of these teams, especially with new coordinators. Look at what Detroit went through. Detroit looked in that first game against Green Bay. Everybody was like, they're missing Ben Johnson. And now all of a sudden in the second game, they looked like they were out there playing the Bad News Bears and put up 50-some points.
Yeah, but
you got to give time. You got to give time to these guys to get their feet wet because they're trying to create their own identity as well as new coordinators.
If I could push back a bit here, it's essentially the same personnel. It is a offensive coordinator who was the pass game coordinator for the last 3 years, and the Lions scored 50 points in this. And your point earlier was correct in that we have seen this similar thing. So I guess my question is the one, or rather the two constants over the last 3 years are Sirianni and Jalen. Right, we've had different offensive coordinators, but we've seen a lot of the same issues. Now, in 23, it was the second half of the year where the offense looked like it became stale. So I guess just at a certain point, we start wondering, is this less about the coordinator and more about either the quarterback or the head coach? Because we're seeing similar things with different coordinators.
Y'all love to point the finger straight at the quarterback. Y'all just love asking me that, huh?
Well, let me ask you. Well, here's the thing.
I love how you tried to set it up. And let me push back for a minute. Get out of here with that. I knew where you was going from the very beginning.
Okay, all right. But let me ask you this, though. Here's my issue, though. But here's my issue, Donovan.
You're going to get hit with acorns. Let me go ahead and break this down for you.
All right, go ahead.
Yes, it's a mix of everybody.
Okay.
And you got to understand, when it comes to success of a lot of ball clubs in the National Football League, it's not just one particular person. There's everybody that's got a hand in it. And at the quarterback position, we need help. And, yes, that means it's got to be the right play call. It's got to be called at the right time. It's got to be the right preparation where, hey, maybe we see something out on the field. And as a quarterback, if we're allowed to, we make the check to get us in a better situation so that we can get the ball out and let our guys be able to work, because we see it out on the field. Also, too, when it comes to the head coach, the game planning is something in which the offensive coordinator, the quarterback coach, receiver coach, tight ends coach, everybody's sitting in there with the head coach, so they're game planning together. And so I look at this in a sense that I guarantee this won't be an issue when it comes about week 6, week 7, week 8. I just remember I said in the beginning that it's going to take time because these guys did not play in the preseason, and you got a different voice that's calling plays. And if he's the passing coordinator, that's great. But it comes to everything when it comes to now the coordinator. You got to be able to run the football. You got to call the screens when they're blitzing. What are their tendencies? What are you seeing as their weakness on defense? How are we going to attack it? It can't just be turn around handed to Saquon. Hey, sometimes we got to get Saquon in space where he might go up against a linebacker. That's one of their weak cover linebackers. Or we might need to put Dallas Goedert or somebody up the middle versus the Mike because their Mike's not a good cover guy. These are things that you got to learn as an offensive coordinator and then call the right play so that now Jalen understands what he's looking at.
So when you're looking at A.J. Brown out there, I think we're all trying to figure out, he's had, 6 targets in 2 games. And, we know him as one of the best wide receivers in football. When you see him, does he look the same? It's hard to tell when he's not catching the ball, but it's also hard to tell if they're dealing with an A.J. He's had a bunch of knee injuries, a couple of hamstring things, who may be a little diminished. When you're watching him, do you see the same guy?
I don't see anything different from A.J., to be honest with you. I think A.J. looks as he looked last year when we won the Super Bowl, the same when we went far or when we had the struggling year. I look at A.J. and I think we need to find ways to get A.J. the ball. Like, I'm used to sections in a play call sheet, where it's like, A.J. plays or Devontae plays or Dallas Goedert plays or Saquon plays in the passing game. That's the way the call sheet should look. I don't know what it looks like, but you know what plays you can call where you can get the ball in his hands. And that's how you game plan. That's how you game plan as an offensive coordinator, and that's how you game plan as a head coach. At least that's what I've learned under Andy, and that's where me coaching high school football now, that's kind of how we go about it as well. But also, too, I think, again, when we look at this Kansas City game, going back and comparing it to the first game, yeah, I believe they double-teamed him a high percentage of the time. Wouldn't you as a defensive coordinator? I would definitely double-team A.J. and not have him wreck the game. So I just think we got to do a better job of either getting him in motion to create mismatches or move him around in times where it can be either a bubble screen or a quick slant off a motion or whatever it may be. He's got to come out at least with about 7 or 8 targets a game.
All right, Donovan. Well, you said you guaranteed a more functional offense week 5 or 6, so I'm holding you to that. A guarantee is a guarantee.
Okay.
Man. All right.
Hey, man, people may not like how I say it or when I say it, but they never say you were right. So we need to pay attention because this don't change. Am I lying, Mike?
You ain't lying.
All right, Donovan.
He's usually right.
Appreciate you. We will talk to you next Monday.
All right. I need more energy, though. You sound like you didn't have your coffee.
Nah, listen, you was cooking today. I'm listening to you. You're cooking today. I was listening to you.
Donovan is checking everybody's energy on this side.
Yes. All right, bro.
All right, you guys take it easy. We'll talk next week.
All right, there he is, Donovan McNabb.